Dear youngsters of 2023, it's your old grandpa here. No. Dear youngsters of 2023, it's you here, writing you from the year 2073. The police are coming for me and I don't have much time, so I will try to be brief. I'm writing to warn you about the dangers of the future technology, how it can cause tricky situation with respectable women, deprive your wife of her beautiful facial hair, feed you chicken feet, take you on an unplanned 70-hour road trip across a continent, and make you an international outlaw just because of a stupid inflatable penguin. I want you to know that it's not all sunshine and rainbows in the future world of technology, and that you should enjoy the simple, undeveloped technology of today while you still can. Back in my day, we used to complain about how technology was taking over our lives. And now, 50 years later, I find myself longing for the days when a vacuum cleaner was just a vacuum cleaner and the car was just a car. These days, everything is connected to the internet. And I mean everything. And let me tell you, this Internet of Things is a real pain in the backside. Take a recent vacuum cleaner incident, for example. It's a cautionary tale about the perils of relying on technology too much. You see, back in my day, in your day, I mean, vacuum cleaners were simple machines. They had motor, a bag, and a cord that you had to plug into the wall. You turn it on and it sucked up dust and dirt from the floor. Very easy. But these days, vacuum cleaners are much more complicated. Not only that they are part of this Internet of Things, which means they are connected to the internet and can communicate with other devices, but they are also smarter than we are, or so they like to think. These busters can make split-second decisions and adjustments based on the real-time data they are collecting from their surroundings. One of those sons of bitches can detect when you're cooking and adjust its cleaning schedule to avoid disturbing you, sneaky bastard. It can communicate with your smart thermostat to adjust the temperature and humidity levels in your home to optimize its cleaning performance. But all this complexity presents a grave danger, as it turned out. Not so long ago, my wife, Galina, found herself in a close proximity to our new and shiny vacuum cleaner, which had all sorts of those sensors and cameras and other bells and whistles. She was just standing peacefully in her living room when that thing of a Satan suddenly jumped up. It started spinning in circles and making strange noises, and then it locked on her eyebrows and started sucking them in. Now, my wife has some pretty impressive eyebrows. They're thick and bushy, like two caterpillars resting on her forehead. But they are not dust bunnies. This bastard, however, did not know the difference. It mistook her eyebrows for a giant dust ball and went in for the kill. I heard her scream from the other room and rushed to her aid. When I got there, she was holding the vacuum cleaner at bay, trying to keep it from sucking her eyes out. And I'm still not sure if it was a glitch or if the bastard became jealous of Galina's luxurious facial hair. And then, just a couple of weeks later, the car incident, one of the most harrowing experiences of my elderly life. I still wake up in the middle of the night, in sweat, with the tambourine echoing in my ears. Let me tell you about so-called cars of 2073. They are not even recognizable as cars anymore. You wouldn't even find a steering wheel or pedals. Instead, you're supposed to just tell it your destination and hope for the best. And if that's not ridiculous enough for you, these things can go up to 1000 miles per hour. What's the rush, I say? You will be lucky to make it to your destination in one piece with these death traps. And don't even get me started on their ability to transform into boats or airplanes. What kind of nonsense is that? Of course, they claim to use advanced AI and sensors to avoid accidents, but can you really trust a machine to make split-second decisions for you? Whatever happened to walking or driving a good old-fashioned Tesla? Elon has no interest in us Earthlings anymore. So anyway, here is the story. One day I was just taking a short drive to a grocery store to get some mushrooms. No.
Mistake, Helena, scratch this part.
One day I was taking a short drive to the grocery store. So I passed the intersection on the 5th, near the inflatable Donald Trump Jr. And all of a sudden, the radio starts blasting some strange music I'd never heard before, and the steering wheel goes away. Of course, I tried to regain control with a wide range of obscenities, but no use. And before I knew it, I was on a 70-hour road trip to Sarajevo with no control over the damn thing. The bastards had taken over my GPS and were using it to guide me to their destination, a goat farm just behind the Krivoglavice. And to make matters worse, they had a strange obsession with Bosnian prison folklore songs. I was subjected to hours upon hours of accordion music, punctuated by the occasional sound of tambourine, a nightmare. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, and I couldn't escape the terrible music. In the end, of course, I was rescued by the team of cybersecurity experts, who tracked down the hacking sons of bitches and eliminated their mobile unit disguised as an ice cream truck with a couple of Tomahawk missiles. Back in 2023, cars were just cars. It's enough to make me want to go to riding a moped. Too bad the police have confiscated it. And another horrible experience I had with technology has to be my smart fridge. I don't want to talk about this much, but the long story short, it mistook my stomach problems with a dog and refused to give me human food. I had to eat dehydrated chicken feet the whole day, and back in 2023 we just had to worry about the milk going bad. And don't even get me started on virtual reality in 2073. Every time I use one of these sims, I feel like I'm losing touch with reality. I start to forget where I am and what I'm doing. It's like my brain can't handle the overload of information and sensory input. Back in my day, we did not need to have all this fancy technology to have a good time. We would just go outside and shoot something, or go fishing. But now everyone is so obsessed with their gadgets and gizmos, they forget how to enjoy the simple things in life. I mean, I would not be talking to you right now if it weren't for these fancy contraptions, letting me send you a message back to the past. But there is a limit on how much we should rely on all this. We need to remember to live the real world, not just these virtual ones. What happened to me just a week ago was I had just gotten my hands on a new VR headset that was supposed to be the most realistic simulation yet. And damn, it was. So I was on a commercial airliner, on a very long 2-hour flight. So I thought I'd put the headset on and check it out. An hour has passed and I've fallen asleep, right in the simulation. I woke up in horror to find myself in a cockpit of a military aircraft, hurtling vertically towards the ground with the great speed. In order to rescue the situation, recover the machine from the deadly nosedive, and save my comrades and myself from a certain and untimely death, I reached out and swiftly grabbed what I thought was one of the elements of the aircraft controls. Unfortunately, what I firmly believed to be a legitimate hands-on throttle of a Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress bomber turned out to be the right knee of a very respectable woman, sitting next to me on that same commercial airliner that I've fallen asleep on an hour ago. I can't look her in the eyes to this day. These sims are so realistic nowadays that it's easy to forget you're not actually there, and that can lead to some delicate situations, as I found out on the plane, and I'm sure the respectable woman I accidentally tried taking emergency control of will never forget it either. And finally, the reason I'm now an international outlaw. Quantum computers, both a blessing and a curse. These darn quantum computers can predict everything. They seem to know everything even before you do. It's like living in some sort of a science fiction movie. You see, they work based on a completely different principle than regular computers. Instead of using bits, which can be either 0 or 1, they use something called qubits, which can be both at the same time. It's basically like trying to juggle oranges and apples at the same time, except the oranges are also apples, and the apples are also oranges. The real kicker is that quantum computer can solve certain problems way faster than any regular computer. It's like having a turbocharged sports car compared to a wheelbarrow. Back in 2023, we just had to worry about our kids buying too many apps or accidentally texting their crush the wrong thing. And now we have to worry about adults accidentally causing an international incident with harmless online shopping. Here is the thing. The police is almost here, I need to wrap up. Nothing major. It's just that I accidentally hacked into the power grid of Slovenia while trying to order an inflatable penguin using my grandson's iPhone with a new quantum computing processor. Don't get me wrong, the technology of 2073 is amazing, but it's also maddening. I'm constantly struggling with it, trying to keep up with the latest updates and patches. I miss the good old days when life was simpler, and you did not have to worry about your German toaster becoming sentient and demanding to be called Gertrude. But I guess that's progress for you. Hugs, you from the good old 2073. P.S. Tell the people watching this thing, hit the like and subscribe. Good evening, officers.